Jacob Markstrom has waived his no-trade clause. He's still a member of the Calgary Flames, which means the trade with the Devils fell apart. But since he waived his no-trade clause, what does that mean for his future in Calgary? Make sure you stay tuned. Welcome to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here, you love the Flames, you want to be kept up on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors, then make sure you subscribe because 90% of the people watching are not subscribed. We're getting that down every single day, so I sincerely appreciate every single one of you guys subscribing. It means a lot. But let's talk about Markstrom some more. Let's talk about the trade that was leaked with the Devils. So, obviously last week, the Flames, they played in New Jersey, which gave Conroy a good chance to talk with the Devils management about a potential deal. Now, last week we knew, hey, maybe they'd be looking into Hanifin, maybe they'd be looking into Tanev. Well, now it's known that the main piece going to New Jersey would have been Jacob Markstrom. It was also reported earlier that it was just goaltending. Maybe it was Vladar going over, not just Markstrom. But now we do know that it was Markstrom and that the trade talks went a lot further than any of us had really expected. So here is the article. So report, Jacob Markstrom waived no move clause to join Devils before the deal fell through. And this is from James Nichols. He is a Devils reporter. Continued. Daily Faceoff insider Frank Saravelli reports the Flames did in fact ask Markstrom if he would be willing to waive his no move clause for an intended deal. Yesterday, Elliot Friedman, get the Fried bomb going, reported that although the deal died, the Devils and Flames were in agreement on a package that worked for both teams. The Devils were reportedly ready to at least make Swedish sniper Alexander Holtz as part of the transaction. We will have more on Holtz later in this video. However, Friedman also reported that he believed the issue between the two teams was Calgary retaining salary on Markstrom's $6 million cap hit. Now Saravelli believes the Devils will need to look elsewhere for help in goal. That's good news for Calgary. I think Markstrom, it's in best interest to keep Markstrom. Can this be revisited? Saravelli contemplated. My answer is probably not based on the way it played out. And two, now what? Is there another team that would be willing to step up and pay what would be a pretty significant price in order for Calgary to reshape their goaltending scenario? Very, very interesting. So Markstrom is obviously playing out of his mind right now. He seems to be stopping every single puck, even the ones he can't see, and is just incredible. That means that he is showcasing his value. His value in the past few weeks has skyrocketed, which means the Flames are going to be asking for a ton in terms of a Markstrom deal. We'd need so much in return if Markstrom were to be dealt away. And obviously a big problem is retaining salary. Like 50% even of Markstrom's salary is still $3 million cap hit. That is a lot to retain. But obviously $6 million is a lot to take on for a new team. If they're a contender, chances are they do not have a lot of cap space. They're not willing to take the $6 million on. They'd have to get a huge cap dump in return, or obviously the Flames would have to retain. Now, the Flames have only ever retained once in the deal, and it's when they dealt David Rittich to Toronto. They retained some of that salary. That wasn't a big salary to retain, and David Rittich wasn't exactly, a huge piece, and obviously didn't help Toronto do anything. He's been okay in LA lately. He shut out the Oilers on Saturday night. That was fantastic. Thank you, Big Save Dave. It might not have helped the Flames in the standings, but anytime a former Flame helps beat the Oilers, Flames fans are happy. But let's get back to Markstrom and this trade leak. It's crazy to think that the trade was so close to happening, way closer than any of us thought. Yesterday it was reported that it was like, oh yeah, they were talking, but the Flames didn't really want to retain any salary, so nothing happened. Now we know that Markstrom waived his no trade clause. That is way further than we thought. We also knew Markstrom obviously didn't love hearing his name in the trade rumors and said whatever pretty much to Eric Francis, But now we know he was spoken to. The trades made it to Markstrom. He was ready to be out of here. So does that mean he wants to be in Calgary? I'm not 100% sure, but he's sure playing like he wants to be here, because why else would he be playing this hard if he felt unwanted by the organization? Let's move on. Does Markstrom want to be in Calgary? Literally what I just said. I know, I kind of just spoiled it. But it is definitely worth talking about. If he has waived his no trade clause, said bye-bye to it, does he want to still be in Calgary? Do the Flames still want him to be in Calgary? I know the fans sure do. The fans want Markstrom here. He is a phenomenal goaltender. He has been so good for the Flames. Last year was a bit of a rough season, but even then, he kept the Flames in a lot of games. I know it's easy to forget last season because it's a very forgettable year, just missing out on the playoffs and it being just such a gutting way to end the Daryl Sutter era, but Markstrom was very good. He's been way better this year. He's been one of the top goalies in the NHL. He just got outmatched last night by Yegor Sharangovich of the Rangers. That's too bad because, man, the Flames, Markstrom deserved the win last night. But regardless, does Markstrom want to be here? Not 100% sure. It's unfortunate that we do know the news that he did waive it. It's good in a business term. Okay, great. Our assets are ready to move. We're ready to bring in whatever. But it's also, oh man, we want Markstrom to felt wanted here. So, there's two sides to every single transaction. And unfortunately, that's the way it is in this hockey business. Now, let's get back to talking about Alexander Holtz, the name that was dropped in a potential return to Calgary. So here are his stats. This season, 23 points in 51 games. Not amazing at all. In his career, just 29 points in 79 games. So that's pretty much like a full season of hockey now. Not very overwhelming stats at all. Obviously, he's still very young, just 22, and just turned 22 as well recently. And he's also a former 7th overall pick in that 2020 draft, if you guys remember that crazy draft. So he's obviously a huge, huge prospect, and he's a very young guy who is getting games. He's played pretty much the whole season so far this year for New Jersey. And New Jersey, as we know, they're struggling a little bit. That's why they were looking into Markstrom. But Alexander Holtz being the main piece coming to Calgary, I don't know if that's fully true. That's just what's been reported by Sarah Velli, by Friedman, and everyone else. But I was hoping more for, throw in Dawson Mercer in there somewhere, build it around him. Now, I know Devils fans do not agree with that. Mercer apparently is far superior to Markstrom. I know about that. Markstrom is looking very, very valuable at this point. But throw in a Dawson Mercer. A Seamus Casey. I know he's small, but come on. He can play, and he probably won't get a ton of time over in New Jersey when their defense is healthy. Like Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, they probably won't need him there. The Devils have all their pieces. They've had so many high picks lately. You think of obviously the main ones in Hischier and Hughes, but they've had some super high ones as well that haven't quite panned out yet, but it's obviously still early. So why would they need even more picks? They're going to have to pay all these guys eventually. So why not give away some first round picks? It was kind of shocking that the main piece coming back was potentially Alexander Holtz. I don't know. I think the Flames could have done more. And if it was the retention that was holding this trade back, then surely there was a lot more coming back to Calgary than just Alexander Holtz as the main piece. We can speculate all we want. Obviously, I'll keep you more updated on any more reports that come out. But obviously, the insane part of all this is that Markstrom has waived his no trade clause and that the Flames and Devils were very, very close to a trade last week. That would have been insane, especially with how good Markstrom has played since they've played against the Devils as well. Man, it could have been an even more nuts week last week. But let's just look ahead now. So looking ahead into the near future, into this upcoming week, the Flames have a 4-game homestand, pardon me, coming up. And it's not the hardest one. They play San Jose, Detroit, Boston, and Winnipeg. So some pretty tough games in there of teams either high in the standings or teams making a push for the playoffs. But obviously the main one, the next one upcoming on Thursday is the San Jose Sharks, the lowly Sharks. So that game goes Thursday, 7 p.m. And as of now, the expected goalie to play is Markstrom. Now that's a little bit surprising since the Sharks are such an awful team. They will probably be getting 32nd place in the NHL this year. But I'm surprised Markstrom is, tabbed as the expected starter. I would think since the Flames have recalled Dustin Wolf, they will probably put him in net. It's an easy game. Wolf is amazing against AHL opponents. Well, the Sharks, I'm sorry, Sharks fans. You're pretty much an AHL team this year, especially with Thomas Hertl now being hurt for a few weeks. Why not give it to Wolf? If the Flames are looking at life beyond Markstrom, if Markstrom really is in these trade talks, then why not give Wolf a shot against a pretty easy opponent? Get him some more NHL experience now that he's up with the team. Vladar's health is also in question. I mean, maybe he'll be healthy enough and Wolf will go back down before then. Obviously, today's just Tuesday and that game goes Thursday, but obviously we'll see. Again, main thing, Markstrom has waived his no trade clause or is willing to, as he's shown, and that's a little concerning for the Flames fans on the side of, oh, we got to keep Markstrom. He's keeping us in games. He can lead us to the playoffs. But again, it's kind of enlightening on the business side of, okay, our players are willing to do what management think is best for the organization, and they will go along with it. So I guess we'll stay tuned and see what happens on Thursday. But no matter what, it is very, very exciting times. And we at Flames Digest will, of course, keep you updated. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here and have a wonderful day.